Hello, hello.
Hi.
It's Amanda and Sam, and we are back.
With nuance needed.
We are really excited for this episode. This is going to be like Sam's cornerstone. I don't know.
It's me.
This is going to be Sam's moment to shine.
It will be. Oh my gosh. It's so much. And the second we say what the topic is, if you've been following me for any amount of time, or if you've ever worked with me, or you know me, you'll know immediately why this is my moment in the sun with this podcast.
So we are talking today about the Hulu series, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
AKA Momtok. And they got to get back to Momtok. They got to remake Momtok the way it was.
They have to return to whatever it was. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let you, because I have like petty level thoughts. I have therapist thoughts, but I don't have, for those of you who don't know, right? Like Sam lives in Utah.
Yes.
Eventually will not live in Utah, but lives in Utah,
yes.
Has been in Utah.
Yes.
Knows the ins and outs of all of the culture.
Yes.
Knows probably people who know the people on the show.
Yes. Yes.
So
yes.
where do you want to start?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'll share with you. So, okay. When we saw that the show was coming out, I was kind of like, I have to watch it. And I'm very specific with my reality TV. Like I am a Love Island girly through and through.
I know I have to get you on Love is Blind.
I know. So many people have tried. I'll do it. I promise. But everybody was always like, oh, were you watching The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? And sometimes, and I promise I'll land the plane on this, what I struggle with reality TV often is I end up like talking to the TV. Therapizing the TV. And I think when I was in the hospital, that was a lot. I had to be really boundaried.
Yes.
With like my energy levels. And then even as I've like transitioned out of it the last year, I've found emotionally sometimes it was like too much. Like I was taking it on. And so I really tried to separate. But now she's done some work. And so when I saw that it was coming out, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna dive into this.
Yeah.
So I went to my friend's house. There was like 6 of us who all have ties to the Mormon church, varying levels of involvement still. And the first episode, my jaw was dropped the entire time. Because it was so, for me, and this is, okay, I'm also going to preface this. This is me. This is my interpretation. You get to feel however you want to feel about this. But this is my interpretation as someone who was brought up in this religion, who was raised in this culture, and who has lived in the heartland of this culture for the last 15 years. So it didn't just feel like reality TV to me. It was like seeing some of the worst stories and events that I have witnessed in my life and friends' lives playing out on TV. Like the shame, the judgment, the small-mindedness, the vapidness, however you pronounce it. Like the cattiness, the internalized misogyny, like all of it was like happening all at once.
Yeah.
And then in the second episode, I'm pretty sure it's the second episode, Taylor and Dakota go to a sushi restaurant that I can see from my balcony. And that's when I was like, like it was so much. So while I was at my friend's house, we got through 3 episodes and then left. So I finished watching it on my own. And the kind of like sum of my thoughts, and then we'll get more detailed.
Yeah.
Is on social media, I still follow a lot of people who are still very much involved in the church, very much a part of it, love it, enjoy it. Great. I noticed before the show came out, there was a lot of discussion around like these monologue posts and captions and stories being like, this is not my religion. Like, this is not it. Like, like, this is not us.
Oh, okay. The way that it was, the way it was portrayed on the show.
Well, and that was before it even came out.
Right. Okay.
Like, people were prefacing, like, well, don't believe what you see.
We're not that we're cooler Mormons, or we're more pious Mormons.
It would probably depend on who you talk to.
Okay.
But within the church, there is a very strong cultural pull to protect the church. And so when there's negative press or negative interpretations or like varied interpretations, there's always like a circle the wagons. No, this is not who we are. I've never, like, it's never been like that for me. But then nobody ever truly explains, like, well, what is that then? Yeah. Like, what are you seeing, or what are you afraid of seeing that you think is going to be bad? Yeah. And so with that said, as I watched it, I was like, no, this is the worst parts of Mormon culture. Yeah. Yes, I will acknowledge it's the worst parts, but I have met Zachs. I've been on dates with Zachs. I have seen and witnessed girl groups rip each other apart like that at all age levels, from teens to grown women in their 40s and 50s. Yeah. Like, the obsession with looks, the obsession with how everything looks on the outside. You are constantly trying to craft an exterior perception of how people see you and interact with you. And I think what frustrates me a lot in much of my deconstruction work and the work that I've done, and the place that I feel that I'm at with it, is the lack of accountability and authenticity. And it's like, you talk to people one-on-one and they will share very similar stories, very similar concerns, very similar frustrations. Get them in a group, and it's like, oh, well, like, I don't know anybody like that. And I've never been around something like that. Or, you know, like, I've just never seen that. Yeah. And it's like, there's so much fear around calling things for what they are. And it's what causes people so much pain. Because people will bring up a part of culture that is causing them harm, or that they don't feel comfortable with, or they don't feel safe with. And they get gaslit into being like, well, you're the only one that feels that way. When it's not true, because that person themselves that they're telling might feel the same. Yeah. But they feel this very deep-seated urge to protect and defend and deny and deflect. And so as I was watching all of this happen, I was like, it's like watching the worst moments that I've heard and seen about over my life condensed into 8 45-minute episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like really interesting, in that a lot of times when you have background knowledge about something, you're a lot harder on it, because you're like, no, this wouldn't happen, that wouldn't happen. And I think your perspective, Sam, is interesting, because you're saying, no, actually, this is extremely realistic. Yes. And this is exactly what happens in this culture.
It 100% is. And I think I know people who would respond to Taylor the way her parents responded to her.
I mean, I think those were some of the hardest moments as an like, I'm used to,
so painful.
As someone who watches like reality TV, I watch the Housewives, not all of them, but especially, I mean, this was really fun for me to watch because I am really interested in religion and Mormonism.
Yes.
And Salt Lake City, like the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and you've watched some of it. Yes. It's like, none of them are actually Mormon, so it's not really realistic. They're very similar to other housewife franchises. There's just some nuance of Utah.
Correct.
Where a lot of them were clearly practicing Mormons. They
Mhm.
had families that were more, I
Mhm.
mean, you look at their ages, right? It's
Yes.
very different,
Yes.
except for maybe Heather Gay, who clearly
Yeah.
was Mormon and,
Right.
you know, isn't anymore. This was, yeah, I mean, some of the girls on the show were like 20 and had 2 kids.
Literally 22. Also, I think I felt incredibly frustrated that it was totally glossed over that there is a girl whose husband should have probably been investigated criminally.
Yes. Yes.
Not sure what the outcome would have been of that, but that's not legal in the state of Utah. A 16-year-old is not able to consent to sex with someone over 18.
Yeah, I had heard on Kate, because Kate Kennedy, I don't know if you listened to her podcast, she had said that she thought there may have been something called a Romeo and Juliet law that is a loophole that they used.
So parents can give permission. So with her getting pregnant, that was why it was pushed.
Oh, that's so gross.
It is gross. And my heart breaks for her to be 23 and she now has 3 kids.
Yeah.
And I think something I struggle with is there's also a lot of argument of like, but that's their choice. That's what they want to do. And I think, yes, 1000% absolutely. When you are 16 years old, you are still 10 to 12 years out from your frontal lobe being fully cooked.
Yep.
And even when you're 23, you're still 5 to 7 years out from your frontal lobe being fully cooked.
Yep.
And your frontal lobe is the thing that helps you make decisions, helps you have logic, helps you find reason, helps you understand yourself at more of a self-actualized state.
Yeah.
So I think something I struggle with when there's this conversation of these women who were in their late teens and early 20s making these massive life-changing and altering decisions based from a culture that teaches misogyny and patriarchy and reinforces it. Did they make a decision they wanted to make? Are they making the best of it now and doing the best they can? 100%. Absolutely. I none of this is me saying like, oh, I don't think they love their kids. I'm sure they adore their children. Yeah. I'm sure they love them. Yet I think we on the outside need to have a larger discussion of being realistic of what kind of decisions are you making when you are at that age?
Totally.
And that's kind of, I know that's controversial, and I'm sure some people listening to this are going to feel a little bit spicy of a response to that, and that's fine. And I invite you to sit with that discomfort. Because part of what spawned Momtok were these women wanting some type of an outlet, some type of a purpose, something to do that was outside of these roles. And to watch the shame, every single one of them wrestles with such a strong sense of shame, whether it's with sexuality, whether it's with their own decisions, whether it's, their alcohol consumption, whether it's there is so much shame wrapped up in everything that they do. And I can see from someone who's walked through that deconstruction journey, they are all individually trying in their own ways to work through that. And they're trying to make sense of it. And they're trying to figure out this balance between this system that says, well, everything that I'm pulled to do is bad, but I do it and I don't feel bad. So how do I reconcile these two parts of myself?
Yeah.
And it's a really hard and complicated journey. And I think watching that play out was hard to watch at times for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think this is a really great conversation, Sam, because I think you bring a level of depth to it where when I watch it, because I'm so disconnected from it.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, right, when we watch it, we're just like, this is ridiculous.
Like, it is.
What are you doing?
I
think my biggest annoyance of watching it is I was like, you guys are acting like you're saving the world.
Yes.
Dancing on TikTok.
Right.
And and that is but that's what we're kind of wrestling with and talking about and I think it's actually a really good conversation around the whole theme of this podcast is if we look at self-actualization as a journey.
Yes.
It can be, even though for me, watching someone do a weird dance on TikTok is it's not serious or revolutionary. I don't
No.
think you're moving the world forward with that.
Mm-mm.
Like it can be something that is, so I went back and forth with being like, are you all just like milking that? Like, let's also be honest about how this has all become your income. And it
Yes.
feels good to, you know, we
Yeah.
both can say it feels great online when people like,
Right.
you know, are liking
Right.
and commenting and
Yes.
sharing
Yes.
and
Yes.
the
Yes.
popularity, the
Validating you.
dopamine,
Yep.
absolutely. And, you know, is it really like I did think Whitney, although I didn't like Whitney in the show, I did think her talking about like taking that ad for, you know, like a
Yes.
vibrator. I was like,
Yes.
I actually do agree that I think that is breaking down stigma. And
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
conversation that she had with her mom about like
Mm-hmm.
using, you know, a toy with a partner and how not all
Yes.
women can orgasm and
Right.
all of that. I thought that is a good conversation that
Yes.
we should be having and women should be exposed to. And I think it would
Mm-hmm.
be really powerful to have her do this ad. I think where the disconnect was for me is when I then looked through a lot of her posts or a lot of the
Yeah.
other women's posts.
Yep.
A lot of them weren't really advocating, or they didn't really have a theme,
No.
or they were just, I think there needs to be some them getting real with themselves about where is the
Mm.
line between empowerment and where is the line between just like jumping on a trend, exploiting things for likes, and empowering people. And maybe that line is hard to distinguish. So maybe you can talk about that
Mm-hmm.
better than I can.
Well, I think the distinction there is for you that is not empowering because you did that when you were in your teens
Mm,
and nobody made you feel bad
mm,
for doing that. Nobody looked at you. Maybe someone made fun of you for something or taunted you for something,
yeah.
but nobody looked at you and said, what you are doing is inherently bad, sinful. You have dismissed the light of your higher power and Lord from your life
Yeah.
because you have behaved this way.
Mm,
You, for people who are raised outside, and this isn't just in the, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
yeah.
This is for evangelicals, this is for Catholics, this is for
Mm-hmm.
Muslims, this is for Orthodox Jews, like anybody who is raised in a religion that is fundamental
Yeah. Yeah.
and rigid in its manifestation,
Mm-hmm.
like how you are asked to live your life.
Mm-hmm.
To now be on a platform where you are dancing,
Mm-hmm.
where you are wearing a shirt that might be showing your belly button,
Mm-hmm.
where you are like drinking,
Mm-hmm.
that does feel radical.
Mm-hmm.
When you are coming from that background of having years of passive and sometimes very direct messaging
Mm-hmm.
of what is right, wrong, good, bad, all or nothing, it does feel radical.
Yeah.
And so I think what's hard is it does show the level of emotional immaturity
Mm-hmm.
that these religions can potentially keep people stuck at.
Mm.
Now, again, like I thankfully had parents that didn't speak to me that way. I was very lucky. And I also have friends in the church whose parents did not speak to them that way. I also have friends whose parents 100% lived that way.
Mm-hmm.
The type of people that, like you have to be able to lift your arms up and your shirt doesn't come above like the hem of your pants.
Mm-hmm.
Like your shorts are at your knees. It's non-negotiable. You don't dance. There's certain music you don't listen to. There's certain things you don't do. You shouldn't watch rated R movies.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many cultural elements that are driven home to you
Mm-hmm.
that to everybody else in the world are normal experiences that have no emotional value.
Mm-hmm.
It just is.
Yeah.
Yet for people that are raised, I would say kind of in the heart of Utah, in deeply Mormon families where all of this is very entrenched, to break out of that in any way
Mm-hmm.
truly feels rebellious to your core.
Yeah.
Because so many people around you, especially if you're still in the environment, will be incredibly judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had multiple people say to me, like, pull me to the side because I've had a swearing problem since I was like 9. Pull me to the side and say, I just want you to know when you swear like that, it takes away from you.
So unladylike.
And when people would say that to me when I was like 21, 22, that stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
Now I could give two less.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've done that work to release that pressure and that expectation.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do start to release that, you do kind of feel like, ooh, like, who is this new person that is making her own decisions and her own choices?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, to anybody outside, you're looking at this, you're like, what is the big freaking deal that someone whipped out a flask at a party?
Yeah.
Right? What is the big deal that, what was the other example that I had?
That they went to Chippendales.
Oh yeah. What's the big deal that they went to Chippendales? Like, that's just normal par for the course stuff that you do when you're having fun and a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But in a religion where you've been told doing those things is an indication that you are an inherently bad person.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that in the response, right? Like, what does Jen choose to do when she realizes someone is drinking? She makes the direct correlation that you are not good enough to be present at my family event.
Yeah.
You are going to bring a bad spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was that Jen or Zach?
Yeah.
I would probably lean more towards Zach, 100%.
Yeah.
Yet, you couldn't fathom saying that to someone.
Yeah.
Simply because they had a beverage at an event with a bunch of people that was responsibly managed.
Mm-hmm.
There's no separation between I choose not to do that. It's fine that you don't do that.
Right.
It becomes a direct threat when someone else does that because it is seen as that big of a threat. Mm-hmm. Like, you are, if that comes out at a party, like, the spirit has left.
That does feel like something uniquely Mormon.
Yes.
I mean, I can't speak to other fundamental religions or Mormonism. So who am I to be talking at all?
No, but there is something.
But I don't hear a lot of Catholic, like,
no.
There's a lot of don't ask, don't tell that happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that is the complexity of it. Is we are taught, like, there is no room for use of any of those things. And that it is an indicator of, it's a very external way to prove to people that you are righteous, that you are holy, that you are close to God. And again, it's like, you and I have had multiple conversations. You're fully sober. I've never drank. And we've seen, personally and professionally, the way alcohol destroys your life. Yet, someone who consumes alcohol does not become an inherently bad person.
And not everyone who consumes alcohol has to destroy their life.
Has a problem with it. There's the potential for it.
Correct.
Yet there's plenty of people who manage it well. But in a religion like the Mormon Church, it's very difficult to differentiate that nuance because no nuance is introduced. It is all or nothing. And something that even was confusing to me as a kid is, like, I grew up in New York. I was like an hour north of the city. None of my close friends were members because there wasn't enough of us. It was like, there was like 12 of us in my school of like 3,800 kids in high school. So all of my friends, like, I would go to their house for dinner and their parents would have a glass of wine, or, you know, sometimes they'd step outside to have a cigarette. Like, I was so grateful I grew up there because I already had the exposure that it's not indicative of anything. Like, it doesn't mean anything about these people. Because I can tell you, some of those people were significantly more kind and welcoming and accepting of me than a lot of people were in my very own church congregation, in my ward. I had people who were violently cruel to me when I was a kid, who were grown adults. None of my friends' parents ever did that or behaved that way. And so it's such an odd dichotomy to be coming at it personally from my own work and the work that I'm helping a lot of my clients do, then seeing it and watching these women try really hard to straddle both worlds. And I can empathize with that because I've done that. And in some ways, I still kind of do that because the deconstruction journey is really, really hard. And it takes a lot of mental effort and energy to be working through that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, like, for me, if you kind of like circle back to the show, like, I really, really respected Jesse and Demi.
Mm-hmm.
I really, I respected their approach. I thought that they tried really hard to not focus on the stuff that like the Whitneys and the Jens tended to be drawn more to, kind of the more surface level presentation of, well, if I don't do XYZ, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, no, because you're still like cruel.
Yeah.
Like, you're being cruel to other people. You're such a victim and you treat other people so disrespectfully. But I'm supposed to believe that you are more righteous than these two over here who are authentic and accountable to the decisions they make.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I have been presented with that frustrating dichotomy so many times over my life in the church.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so hard to tease apart in a reality show
Yes.
what is an act that they're putting on
Yes.
for the camera and what is part of the drama that like makes a good reality show that they're leaning into, and what is actually happening. And I think you're saying, Sam, a lot of it is that is what you've seen and experienced, which I think brings a different approach to it. Was easy for me to just be like, this is a reality show. This is ridiculous, which some of it is.
Yes, 100%.
But yeah, I think that, I mean, clearly the way that Jen's, husband's family has been reacting to all of this, villainizing her, throwing her under the bus when she's been the one, we found out online over the past like week or so that she's been the one supporting him. And
through his gambling addiction.
Yeah. And through everything like that. And just, I mean, the way that he reacted and just his moments in the show were some of the absolute worst, hardest.
It was horrible
moments to watch, because it was so heartbreaking to watch her response to his
behavior.
Yeah. Just gross behavior.
Hi there. If you are thinking, as we're talking about spiritual and faith deconstruction, I could really use a therapist to process this with me right now, I wanted to share my practice, Therapy for Women Center, has therapists in the Philadelphia area, and also we have therapists for online therapy licensed in 43 states across the country. We would love to be able to help you. If finances are a concern and you live in Pennsylvania, we also have 2 interns that just started. They're under expert supervision of our licensed clinicians, but they charge only $50 per session. And I would love for you to learn more and check it out at therapyforwomencenter.com.
And I think I watched girls growing up marry men just like him.
Yeah.
And I think what's hard is to not be a Zach is the exception.
Yeah.
And I know that that's going to be a very like controversial statement, but for people in the heart of it, the people who are the true believers, they're called TBMs in the ex-Mormon community, true believing Mormons, a lot of them are buckling down even harder. And it's interpreted as like, oh, he's being the leader of the home.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like where people struggle to make the transition within the church, is because women are told like, well, no, like my role is secondary.
Yeah.
He is the leader. He has his priesthood authority. He is. And so for them to be relying on that and deferring to that mode feels like the most normal, comfortable thing in the world, because they saw their parents do it and they saw their grandparents do it. And a lot of times they saw their great grandparents do it. So it feels very normal to be in that dynamic where it's kind of like, oh, I have to talk to him about it. Oh, like he wasn't really okay with watching the kids, babysitting the kids. And now this is, again, these are not problems that are like solely in the Mormon religion. Like there's patriarchal assholes everywhere you go. Like, that's the whole problem with living in a patriarchal world. But there is something uniquely insidious about organizations that tell women that's the only way to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's on paper.
Yes.
Right? Like written, it's not
yes.
subconscious.
No.
Like this is the examples you gave about priesthood, right, and things like that, that is part of, it's written down in official Mormon documents.
Yes, it literally is. Like, it's not. Yeah. And we are encouraged to be wives and mothers. And while we're told that that is an exalted position, which I, in my own way, take men out of it 100%.
Yeah.
I believe it's an incredibly special role to be a mom and raise a child and all of that. Yet we're told that's meant to be all that we are. And it's like a career over here is tolerated. But even then, me, someone who's 33 years old, just like with my career about to take off in a lot of ways, I'm seen as in a waiting period. And this is what's so hard, is it's such a complex culture.
Yeah.
With such complex expectations that on the surface, a lot of people go, oh, well, that's not so bad. And it's like, well, no, all of the social pressure underneath that and all of the microaggressions that you experience and the frustration of feeling like you are never enough. And I think so many times, like when I would see like Taylor speak with her parents, I wanted to be like, for the love of all that is holy, will you just tell that kid that she is okay?
Yeah.
Will you just give her a hug? Because every decision she made was in response to trying to break free from these structures and belief systems that she was raised in. And mistakes that are seen as like normal life experiences are just like hammered on, and we're so disappointed in you and we're ashamed, and like, you did this to yourself, and like, fine, okay, but you cannot shame someone to love. Like, you cannot shame someone into realization of like, oh, like, I want to make this decision because I love myself.
Yeah.
This is something I want to do because I respect myself. And those were the conversations that, along with the conversations between Jen and Zach, were the most frustrating for me to watch. Were Taylor and her parents.
I mean, I think it's also so interesting because, you know, as we're talking about this, I'm thinking about how people knew there were cameras there. Like like the mom knew she was being filmed.
Right.
And that didn't change, you know, maybe it would have been way worse if there weren't cameras there and she would have been even, you know, more ridiculous towards Taylor. But yeah, I think that is also interesting too, to think about, that they're so clear that this is just normal, how to talk to your kids this way, that it wasn't even, you know, there was no problem with talking about it like this while being filmed or anything like that. And I mean, too, you know, there are critiques I have of Taylor, especially when you take into context her history before she got on the show. I remember she was one of the original influencers who would do weird things, like pretend that there were ghosts in her house and like do weird stuff like that for likes and videos and stuff. And obviously the whole, you know, Mormon, you know, soft swinging thing happened because she shared it. And I think the show should have explained more of the background about how, like, this, besides Taylor, like, I think one of the one of the issues with the show that would have made it better is, I think a lot of the audience was confused because they were trying to trick you and pretend like they were a group before. When they kind of put this, as reality TV shows do, right? They like put this group together who loosely knew each other, maybe some did, in response to, right, like the soft swinging scandal. But the girls who were part of the soft swinging scandal wouldn't do the show unless Taylor wasn't doing the show.
Right.
So they picked a new group. So all this conversation about like, we have to get back to how Momtok was.
Yeah.
Maybe you think you need to get back to where, like, you know, views were during the pandemic, because that was when you were all going viral more. But there wasn't really a group that you all were trying to get back to. And that was an odd phrase. It's kind of like the equivalent of The Bachelor, where they're like, oh, I'm on this journey to find love. Like, it's just this phrase that you could tell producers were feeding them.
Right. Right. As kind of like the baseline narrative that ties together the whole show.
Yeah.
Because if you're not focused on, oh, let's get back to Momtok, why do you care about this group trying to reconcile itself?
Right.
And,
Well,
like,
yeah, and you
sort
would
through
have
the
to break
drama.
the fourth wall and be like,
Right.
oh, we care about reconciling this so that we can continue
Right.
to be on a television show. That's why we care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was kind of surprised at the whiplash between the marketing of the show and what the show really was. Meaning, like, the marketing prior to launch really was more about, like, the swinging scandal.
Yeah.
And they would show Taylor in the confessional kind of like, all right, like, I'm ready to talk about it. So,
Yeah.
like, a lot of my friends who never have been Mormon were texting me and they're like, well, I thought I was going to find out what the hell the swinging scandal was.
Right.
And I was like, honestly, like, I did too. And then, 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a traumatic experience for me. Like, like, because it was more about these women kind of, like, in a lot of ways, like, figuring out who they are through this Momtok thing, and trying to reconcile these personal beliefs with what they really want to do and concerns that they have and this, that, and the other. And oh man.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about Whitney versus Taylor? I mean, my thoughts with, like I said, I had a lot of critiques about Taylor, but I do think she did a really good job of being honest, of taking accountability, of like not hiding. I was impressed with her saying that she wasn't going to get married to Dakota, even though he was pressuring her and her parents were pressuring her. And she, I thought it was maybe not the smartest idea to not be in a good not be in a good place with him, have a miscarriage, and then get pregnant again. Not that was all her by any means.
Right. Still a choice.
But yeah, shows just the importance, I think, or one of the dangers maybe of, not teaching about safe sex and all of that, and why abstinence is not a good method.
No.
But Whitney really, I mean, I think that was the crux of it, is Whitney really, like, wouldn't be honest about, I mean, I, as someone who had a daughter in the NICU, was, like, very horrified by the plot line about how she did a TikTok of her son in the NICU.
Dancing in front of him.
Yeah. And I think that's such a good example, like you were saying, Sam, of the emotional immaturity where you are thinking you're so high off of the fame and the likes and the people telling you that you're great, that you will do something inappropriate that exploits your child, kind of low key, because you just want to keep getting, more likes and more fame and views. And I'm glad people did call her out on that, though, because it was inappropriate.
She deserved it.
Yeah.
It was a bad judgment call.
Yeah.
It was a really, really, really bad judgment call. And I'm sure in her heart of hearts, she did not see that as a negative thing. Yet again, it goes back to, why are you trying to make something so serious so light? Like, just deal with it, sit in it, experience it. Yet there's a lot of people in the church that struggle with negative emotion. And it is seen as something to push away, to dismiss, pray, like, rely on the Lord, be joyful, everything's fine. It's hard. And it's a very real approach to feelings. And I think something that I found, like, particularly insidious, and this was like a group effort, was during the Park City trip. When, I mean, we know the truth box was a producer's suggestion. I am not, like, that was 100% the producers being like, "Ooh, you wanted to do a truth box? Let's go." But I think something that I really struggled with was when Demi really calls out Whitney for very truthful and concerning behavior. Whitney just turned on the tears, goes and hides, very performative. And every single one of the girls do the whole, like, well, like, why are you being so mean to her? Like, why are you yelling? And it's like,
Mhm.
nobody's yelling.
Mhm.
But there's also within church culture a huge fear of contention.
Mm.
Like, there's literally a hymn called Love
Mhm.
at Home.
Mhm.
And there are like multiple families that would say if their kids started fighting, they would all have to start to sing the song Love at Home.
Mhm.
And then everybody would have to move on.
Mhm.
And like, just no, like, we don't fight.
Yeah.
And so what happens is the person who brings up problems within the family dynamic gets told that they are causing contention.
Mhm.
And because it makes people feel spicy, because you're
Yeah.
asking for accountability. You're pointing out very real mistakes. You're pointing
Yeah.
out things that are causing you harm or causing others harm. And that makes people uncomfortable. It's not the discomfort that is inherently the problem. It's
Mhm.
when you punish the truth teller
Mhm.
and you protect the perpetrator.
Mhm.
And that is the pattern that I saw happening when all the girls are in the closet. And then, she's like, oh my God, like, I'm being such a pussy for crying.
Mhm.
And they're like, no, oh my God, no. And it was
It's like the drama triangle
yes,
incarnated.
yes, literally. Like, and so that was a really frustrating episode for me to watch because I felt like it was, and this, again, you could point to 9 million dinners on Housewives episodes where like that same kind of dynamic happens.
Mm-hmm.
But to watch it so slowly unfold through the evening and to watch the way everybody kind of isolates Demi and kind of punishes her, even though she's the first one like speaking up. And she goes to Taylor and she goes, I'm sorry, like, I am so sorry I made those comments about you being white trash, like, that wasn't me. And respecting Taylor's boundary to be like, oh, I don't want to sleep in the room, I thought that was a very healthy response. And then you have Whitney over here who is just kind of like, it's like the white women's tears trope.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it reminded me of just like versions of myself when I was like in my addiction and like was incapable of like taking any sort of accountability or negative feedback.
Right.
Was just super defensive. And it's like the experience of holding something uncomfortable is so painful. You like can't hold it. So you just like throw it at other people.
Yeah.
And that's like what the drama triangle is. We're talking about there's something called the Cartman's drama triangle. There's 3 sides to it. There's the perpetrator, the victim, and the rescuer. And essentially what it says is, and you'll note it once you see it, you'll start to see it sort of everywhere. Where if you are like, Whitney was sort of made out to be the victim in that she was, called out for something. She sort of victimized herself, was upset. And to deal with that, she kind of pulls in people to rescue her. Then she starts talking shit about, the other people. So then when you start talking shit, you then switch and you kind of become the perpetrator and you get the power back. The only way to really stop the drama triangle is to take accountability, have honest conversations, sit in the discomfort and move forward. And I think a lot of us, especially if our parents didn't model healthy conflict for us, really struggle in those moments and make things I think so many times we don't realize how much worse we're making it by like, word vomiting all over someone else and making someone else take care of us instead of like holding our shit and being like, okay, I can't fix this, but this is my plan for doing better.
Right. And that accountability is foreign to a lot of people. It's a really, really hard experience to sit through, to acknowledge, like, I made a mistake. I, fumbled the bag and I'm going to be patient while people rebuild trust with me or people deal with their emotion. And again, it's like nobody is ever going to be told to look at a reality show for like an
healthy
accurate
communication.
Yeah, healthy communication and interactions. Like, it's basically encouraging the worst behaviors within us.
Yep.
But also, to kind of go back to There's a lot of people that have stories in the church where people who shouldn't have been protected were protected.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was 14 years old, my church leader at the time called me into his office unprovoked and said I could no longer wear, like the V-cut or the scoop neck shirts that had like the tank top underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Peak 2004 fashion. Said you can't wear those shirts anymore because I'm noticing some of the men are looking at you.
Mm.
And I was so mortified and I was so embarrassed and I didn't know what to do with it. I was a child.
Mm.
He did not tell my parents that he did this.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell anybody about it until like freaking 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And even my parents were like, they were like beside themselves, furious.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it was like, why am I as the child being punished
Mm-hmm.
when you are watching these grown men look at a 14-year-old girl?
Yeah.
And again, there's going to be a lot of people that would come at me and say, oh, well, that's like a very extreme example. And I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is either. I think it's an incredibly common example.
It's incredibly common, the level of sexual shame. And I think also the Fruity Pebbles incident
mm-hmm.
was indicative of that portrayal of sexual shame.
Mm-hmm.
Like to take something that is completely normal and healthy between a happily married couple
mm-hmm.
and turn it into something that needs to be mocked or made fun of or belittled,
mm-hmm.
that is sexual shame.
Mm-hmm.
And that watching that scene made me particularly mad because of a lot of situations that I was exposed to as a kid through that system, through this very same church leader,
mm-hmm.
multiple times over. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating because it again goes back to what you said earlier of like, why is any of this a big deal? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think I had some friends reach out to me and go, I'm just like not understanding this Fruity Pebbles thing. Like, I'm
mm-hmm.
just not like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, because it's sexual shame.
Yeah.
And it again shows like the emotional immaturity that they have around it. For Whitney to be sitting here trying to be like this sex positive person and like start these conversations, but then she makes fun of something sexually vulnerable and intimate.
Mm-hmm.
It shows like that wrestle between this cultural pull that she had from her upbringing versus the person that I'm sure she would like to be and probably thinks she is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But there's so much shame, like so much shame. And again, the person that feels the shame is the one that's seen as the perpetrator.
Mm-hmm.
Because that means, well, you did something bad if you're feeling that. And it's like, no, more often than not, I was probably a victim of something.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's such a good point with the shame too, because I think it's extremely difficult to have an honest conversation with someone, to take accountability if you are feeling shame. And that's what I am thinking of too with like, I mean, Whitney talked about it. She had a lot of shame for the actions that she took around, you know, the video with her son. And I think that's why she was so upset and devastated when people forgave Taylor and she felt like they didn't forgive her. And she missed, I think that Taylor did a good job of taking accountability and she didn't and was super defensive. And I think it's a really good lesson in all ways of how if we're not super clear about the mistake we made, like just how much better accountability works when we're honest and we take accountability. There's a lot less people that are going to be bringing up over and over again sort of what we did. But yeah, like she clearly had so much shame and then that made her be unable to take accountability, which made the girls not be able to forgive her well, which made them talk about it more, which made her shame worse, which made her act out more, which is how the whole thing, you know, and make her sort of victimize other people by talking crap on them. And that is like the shame is a lot of times glue that holds some of our self-sabotage patterns together.
Because it's exactly like you said, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because shame says, I am bad. Right? when I make a mistake or I do something wrong, that's not confirmation that I'm a flawed human. That's confirmation that I am an inherently bad person.
Yeah.
Because quote unquote good people would not do these things.
Yes, yes.
So when something bad happens, you get stuck in that, see, like, I'm bad, I'm not enough. Blah, blah, blah. And then some people shut down, some people become very reactive, some people deflect, some people, will literally end their life over it.
Yeah.
And there's so many directions that you can take the sense of shame through, like, the religion lens. Because again, that is absolutely not isolated to only Mormonism.
Yeah.
That is like organized religion in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's complicated, and it is like a very complex religion. And like, my sister and I have conversations about it all the time because we're both kind of in the same journey, in the same headspace. And there also was a part of me that, like, my heart just broke for so many of these women. Because I'm like, all of these things that you're struggling with would not be problems if you were just raised by standard people. Sure, there would be mistakes. Sure, there's still trauma in non-religious homes. But I think the level of stress and strain that they had around some of these very small, not even real issues was, like, really painful for me to watch, and like brought me back to that space where so much of my life was dictated by that. And this fear of, like, being exposed to the world and what that means and what that looks like. And thankfully I was able to shake that pretty quickly. But then because I lived here and was like in the thick of it, it was really hard to escape it.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy thing. It's a heavy thing to carry.
Yeah.
I again just want to reiterate that this is my experience and my journey. And this was my take on something, on a culture that I am so familiar with and have been involved in very deeply in certain seasons of my life. And a group that I tried really, really hard to fit in with for a long time. And I just want to say, like, if you find yourself on this deconstruction journey, or you hear this and it feels like it finally speaks to things that a lot of people have been telling you to keep to yourself, I just want you to know that your journey is your journey.
Yeah.
There's no timeline for this. There's no expectation that it has to be done by this time, or that it has to lead to a particular outcome. But if you are a woman or a man, even, or like, who is trying to understand your relationship to this religion, whether it's the Mormon religion, whether it's the evangelical, Catholic, I don't care. Just allow yourself space to finally verbalize your truth. And instead of spinning yourself in circles trying to justify why you shouldn't be feeling something, or why, you saw a talk or heard something that made you feel, like you were wrong, just practice allowing yourself to speak truth to what you have legitimately experienced, to what you have gone through, to the way that maybe this has hurt you, to the way things aren't working for you, to just allow that to finally, like, come to the surface and have space to be listened to. That alone is so incredibly empowering. Like, it took me forever to be able to verbalize some of the things that my church leaders did to me.
Yeah.
And put me through. And it opened the door. It opened the door to allow me to finally speak my truth and get pissed at people and finally be angry. Instead of just spending years and years and years shoving it down. So again, this is my journey. It doesn't have to be your journey. If you are deep in it and have no problems, I'm happy for you. I am. I'm glad you found something that works for you. Yet this is also for the people that feel that they don't have anybody to talk to about it. And even if you just write it down, even if you just say it it deserves to be spoken.
Yeah. I think sometimes too, when we don't talk about something,
Yeah.
it is so hard and painful.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like by the time you say it out loud, it's almost like way easier and less horrible.
Yes.
Not what happened to you is less horrible, but the impact on you is less horrible than you think. Like sometimes we think if we say something out loud, we will die.
Yes.
A lot of times when we actually do say it out loud and we actually do start exploring it, it takes a lot of its power away and we are a lot more empowered and it's easier to work through it. And I think I'm just grateful, Sam, for you bringing, I think, the depth to this conversation that I don't think anyone else is bringing.
No.
Because I think it is triggering. And obviously we bring depth and lightness to all conversations. And some that we're not as emotionally connected to, we're not going to have as much depth to. And that doesn't mean that it's not serious for you. It's just that it might not be our experience or our perspective when we're watching. But I think there's just like a lot of bravery too in facing things. You know, it can be so scary to start pulling the strings of these things because sometimes we don't want to know what we don't know. So I'm glad you shared this, Sam. And I think too, just like bringing this in for any listeners, like we really respect you listening. And if you're on this deconstruction journey, being brave enough to pull out some of these strings because it's scary.
Yeah. And if you know someone on this journey, to just extend a little bit of extra compassion to them, even if you don't understand it, even if you don't get it, to allow them space to do what they have to do.
Totally. All right, everyone.
Easy peasy.
Thank you all for listening. We will be back next week with a new episode.
Yes. Can't wait.
So please rate, review, subscribe, share. We're so excited. This is the last episode of this week.
Yes.
This little blitz we've done, and we'll be back next week with regular episodes every Wednesday.
Yeah. Can't wait.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.